Lewis gets ignored by his race engineer as the misunderstanding continues. Verstappen suggests a new format for the Monaco GP, and Mercedes responds to bold strategy during the race. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Lewis Hamilton found himself puzzled by a communication mishap with Ferrari during the Monaco Grand Prix. The order? Push now. This is our race. Left Hamilton scratching his head as he struggled to understand what his team was trying to convey. Starting from P7, Hamilton managed to claw his way up to P5. However, as he crossed the finish line, he was over 50 seconds behind the winner, Lando Norris, and 30 seconds adrift of Max Verstappen in P4. This left Hamilton feeling like he was in no man's land, a term he used to describe his race experience that day. The 7-time world champion maintained a vantage point of the unfolding team tactics behind him, particularly with the new mandatory 2-stop rule making its debut in Monaco. While other teams like Racing Bulls and Williams capitalized on this strategy, Mercedes struggled, which only added to Hamilton's isolation on the track. Reflecting on his race, Hamilton expressed his frustration about being caught behind 2 cars for a considerable period before finally breaking free. Once clear, he still found himself without competition, yearning for a safety car to spice things up. Sadly, that opportunity never arose. In the midst of the race, Hamilton's engineer, Riccardo Adami, attempted to motivate him with the cryptic call to action as Ferrari executed a successful overcut on Isaac Hajar and Fernando Alonso. Despite the encouragement to push, Hamilton was at a loss, unsure of what his team's intentions were. As the dust settled on the Monaco Grand Prix, one thing is clear: communication is essential in motorsport. And for Hamilton on that day, it felt like he was racing in the dark while the rest of the grid moved around him. With key decisions and tactics at play, clarity could have changed the dynamics of the race for Hamilton, and perhaps even for Ferrari. Stay tuned as we analyze how this incident may shape future races and what strategies teams will adopt moving forward. Hamilton's recent race brought to light some glaring communication issues with his engineer Adami, following his high-profile transfer to Ferrari. During the race, Hamilton frequently sought updates about the gaps between him and competitors like Verstappen, Piastri, Leclerc, and Norris. However, when he asked Adami if he was still a minute behind, he didn't get a direct answer, leading him to express his frustration. "You're not answering the question," Hamilton remarked, emphasizing the need for clarity. As he reflected on a radio demand to push now, "This is our race," he admitted the instructions were unclear. "I didn't really understand," he said, struggling to decipher if he was contending for a higher position or something else entirely. Upon reviewing the data post-race, Hamilton realized he wasn't close to the leaders after exhausting his tires in pursuit of an unattainable goal. Meanwhile, teammate Charles Leclerc celebrated a strong finish, securing second place on home soil, effectively widening the points gap in the Drivers' Championship to 16 points in his favor. As Hamilton navigates his new chapter with Ferrari, it's crucial for him and Adami to streamline their communication. This breakdown could alter not just race outcomes, but also strategies as the season unfolds. In future episodes, we'll dig deeper into Hamilton's journey and explore how this dynamic may evolve as the championship heats up. Make sure to subscribe and comment on how you think the communication between drivers and their teams can impact performance. Max Verstappen recently suggested a bold and entertaining shift in Formula One. He believes the sport should go full Mario Kart after witnessing the lackluster results of the recent Monaco Grand Prix. This playful comparison came on the heels of a much-debated implementation of a mandatory 2-stop rule during the race. The idea was to inject more excitement into the event, especially after last year's Monaco GP, where drivers predominantly raced on a single set of tires following an early red flag. The FIA aimed to change the dynamic for the 2025 season, but found that the execution left much to be desired. The 2-stop rule did stir up some strategy among teams. Racing Bulls and Williams played a tactical game, with drivers taking turns to function as slow-moving rear gunners, ultimately leading to all 4 drivers secured points. However, it was anything but exhilarating racing around the narrow streets of Monte Carlo. Verstappen, who finished fourth, expressed his skepticism about the rule and the overall racing conditions, noting that even eager attempts at overtaking proved futile. When asked about his thoughts on the performance of the two-stop rule, Verstappen didn't hold back. He remarked, "Yeah, but you can't race here anyway," emphasizing that the number of pit stops wouldn't change the grim reality of overtaking in Monaco. He further pointed out the absurdity of barely being able to pass other cars, stating that it felt like he could overtake a Formula 2 car on the course. Despite acknowledging the FIA's effort to enhance the racing experience, Verstappen adamantly felt it didn't work. He seemed to long for a return to more dynamic racing scenarios and suggested that perhaps a whimsical approach, akin to the fun chaos of Mario Kart, could be the solution the event desperately needs. In a sport where exhilarating competition is the goal, Verstappen's comments resonate with fans and competitors alike who crave more thrilling races, especially at storied venues like Monaco. The challenge remains: how can F1 bring that excitement back while maintaining its prestigious nature? As the post-Monaco reflections continue, the question lingers: could embracing the fanciful, unpredictable elements of Mario Kart, like banana peels or other playful hazards, be the key to revitalizing the racing action fans expect? It's a thought-provoking proposition that highlights the ever-evolving landscape of Formula One as it looks for ways to engage and thrill its audience. Stay tuned as the world of F1 navigates the road ahead, and keep an eye on how the Monaco GP evolves in response to drivers' feedback and fans' desires for more dynamic racing experiences. In a recent discussion about the Monaco Grand Prix, Max Verstappen humorously remarked that the event felt akin to doing Mario Kart. He suggested that perhaps adding some playful elements, like tossing bananas, could spice things up. Meanwhile, Jenson Button, the 2009 world champion, shared his thoughts while on punditry duty in Monaco. He appreciated the efforts to make the race more engaging, but he expressed concern that the tactics employed during the race undermined its integrity. For example, Mercedes's George Russell took a questionable route by straight-lining through the Nouvelle chicane to clear the Williams of Alex Albon. This maneuver ended up costing Russell a drive-through penalty, raising valid questions about racing strategies that prioritize team tactics over fair competition. Button noted, when teams were using one driver to help another, holding back the pack, it looks a bit silly, doesn't it? He referenced how George Russell's attempt to leapfrog Albon, although accidental, contributed to the spectacle feeling more like a mockery than a display of skill. Despite these critiques, Button emphasized a positive note, stating, "It's a shame it hasn't worked. I love that we've tried it because it needed something." He indicated a strong desire for the FIA to find effective tweaks that enhance the Monaco GP experience while keeping the competitiveness intact. As Formula One anticipates future races, including potential revisions to regulations and race strategies, fans are hopeful that the Monaco GP will evolve into a more thrilling and competitive spectacle. The feedback from drivers like Verstappen and Button may prompt significant changes as the sport aims to balance excitement with integrity on the track. As we look ahead, the key question remains: can the Monaco GP adapt to keep up with the high-speed world of F1, driven by both driver insights and the expectations of a global fan base? The answers could pave the way for a more dynamic racing experience, one that is both entertaining and fiercely competitive. Racing Bull's team pulled off a daring strategy that turned heads and earned them valuable points in the championship battle. In a race filled with tactical twists, Racing Bulls took advantage of the new two-stop rule, which significantly affected the midfield dynamics. Let's break down how this Fanza-based team orchestrated their best performance of the F1 2025 season so far. Teamwork emerged as the cornerstone of Racing Bull's success at Monaco. Their drivers, rookie Isaac Hajar and Liam Lawson, successfully utilized their positions on the track for effective collaboration. Hajar finished an impressive 6th, while Lawson scored his first points of the season after advancing to Q3 for the first time. Their strong qualifying positions set them up for a competitive race. As the race commenced, it became evident that the duo's teamwork would be pivotal. This was especially crucial given the unique layout of the Monaco circuit, which demands drivers to be significantly faster than their opponents to execute successful overtakes. Racing Bulls cleverly positioned Lawson as a buffer, allowing Hajar to navigate through the race without unnecessary pressure. As the two drivers managed to create a gap early on, Lawson's pace became instrumental in allowing Hajar to maintain his position ahead. Analysis of race data reveals that by lap 13, the teammates managed to open a gap of over 20 seconds. Knowing a green flag pit stop costs around 19 to 20 seconds at Monaco, the team promptly decided to bring Hajar in for fresh soft tires. Once on new tires and with clear air ahead, Hajar was free to push his limits on the track. Their strategy involved a two-stop plan, replicating their actions to maximize point scores. In his second stint, Hajar proved to be exceptionally fast, clocking laps 4 to 5 seconds quicker than those of Lawson and the competitors behind. Interestingly, Lawson's role became not just to race, but to intentionally hold back during this phase, allowing Hajar to build a significant lead. Praising a driver for being slower might seem counterintuitive, but in this case, it was a brilliant tactical maneuver. Lawson had to juggle maintaining a pace that was slow enough to safeguard Hajar's advantage while avoiding potential overtakes. The precision and focus required were immense, as any misstep could have jeopardized the entire plan. As we wrap up this analysis of the Racing Bulls' cunning strategy at the Monaco GP, it's clear that teamwork and strategy were key to their success. Both drivers showcased an impressive blend of skill and tactical acumen as they clawed their way into the Constructors' Championship battle. Stay tuned for our next video as we analyze more thrilling races and the strategies that shape Formula One. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for updates. Hajar's strategy at the Monaco Grand Prix was a bold one as he ventured onto the soft tire compound for just 5 laps. The aim? To create a crucial gap before his next pit stop. Once he completed his second stop, his teammate Lawson showcased an impressive pace, noticeably improving his lap times. Despite Hajar experiencing a slight setback with a position loss to Hamilton in the far quicker Ferrari, the mission was deemed a success. Hajar retained control of the race and would have placed even higher if not for a DNF incident, which fortuitously benefited Lawson. Interestingly, the Williams team, observing this strategy, decided to replicate it with their own drivers. They found themselves trapped behind Lawson, which hindered their ability to implement the tactics sooner. In this scenario, the rear driver intentionally slowed down to create a gap, making a strategic pit stop easier for teammate Albon. Lawson seized on this similar approach, managing to pit without sacrificing his track position. After his second stint began on softs, he completed his stop after 9 laps and quickly found himself in clean air, setting a fast pace as he aimed to close the gap to his teammate ahead. Ultimately, the Racing Bulls team executed their strategy flawlessly amidst the new regulations. Their communication and collaborative effort placed both drivers in advantageous positions, leading to their best finish of the season thus far. This success wouldn't have been conceivable without their exceptional qualifying performance and the solid pace of their car. The team concluded the Monaco GP as the 4th fastest, trailing only McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull. This was a remarkable accomplishment for the Faenza-based squad, showing they've made significant strides in performance. As we look into the future of Formula One, keep in mind the strategies and dynamics that can turn the tide in a race. The skills displayed by Hajar, Lawson, and their teams exemplify how critical teamwork and tactical awareness are in this fast-paced sport. We hope you enjoyed our breakdown of the Monaco GP. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more exciting F1 content coming your way. Lando Norris has emerged victorious at the Monaco Grand Prix, edging out Charles Leclerc in a thrilling race filled with strategic moves and moments of high tension. The outcome didn't just bring glory to Norris, it also tightened the competition for the championship, closing the gap to just 3 points between him and Oscar Piastri in the driver's standings. Nevertheless, this race has raised significant questions about Formula One regulations. As the drivers lined up on the grid for the mandatory 2-stop race, tensions were high. Norris claimed pole position amid an array of strategies from teams, each opting for various Pirelli compounds, including the soft tires for Yuki Tsunoda. As the lights went out, Charles Leclerc quickly challenged Norris, creating an intense moment as Norris locked up his brakes but managed to maintain his lead into Turn 1. Meanwhile, Oscar Piastri didn't have the best start but managed to keep ahead of Max Verstappen. Things took a dramatic turn early on when Gabriel Bortoleto crashed into the portiere barrier after being crowded by Kimi Antonelli. He was forced to pit for repairs, and the race saw the activation of the virtual safety car. During this period, several drivers, including Yuki Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly, also made their first pit stops. With the VSC lifted on lap 4, the racing resumed with Norris maintaining a slim lead over Leclerc, who was soon building distance from Piastri. The intriguing dynamics continued as Gasly suffered a significant crash on lap 9 while attempting to overtake Tsunoda, further spicing up the race's narrative. Once again, the race had to contend with the ramifications of these incidents, drawing the drivers even closer together. As the laps progressed, Hajar became among the first of the frontrunners to pit, strategically employing soft tires and managing to emerge strong, even leading a train of cars that included the frustrated Fernando Alonso. On lap 19, Lewis Hamilton also opted for a pit stop, successfully moving ahead of both Hajar and Alonso. Norris made his critical pit stop on lap 20, intending to maintain his lead, but a slow stop cost him precious time. Piastri followed closely behind, and Leclerc executed his stop as well, all of them rejoining the race in a fanfare of orange and maroon in what resembled a papaya sandwich. This race highlighted the significant implications of pit strategies and team tactics that can alter the course of a Grand Prix. As we look ahead, the fallout from the Monaco GP will have a lasting impact on the ongoing championship battle and how the teams will approach future races. Stay tuned as we continue to follow the gripping developments in the 2025 Formula One season. Will Lando Norris maintain his momentum, or will someone else rise to challenge? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, the excitement is just beginning. As the team games continued, George Russell found himself in 12th place, alerting Mercedes that Carlos Sainz was backing off ahead. The team's response was brief, 3 seconds. Meanwhile, Alex Albon managed to pit and re-emerged ahead of Sainz. In an intriguing turn of events, Verstappen's first pit stop allowed Lando Norris to leap back into the lead, closely followed by Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri, with Verstappen himself trailing the pack. Frustration mounted when Leclerc labeled the traffic situation a joke, feeling that the slower drivers, including Mercedes teammates, were impeding their progress. By the halfway mark, Norris held a solid 6-second lead over Leclerc, while Piastri remained close behind and Verstappen trailed further back. Points were also being claimed by notable names like Hamilton, Alonso, Hajar, Ocon, Lawson, and Albon. Then came a moment of disappointment for Aston Martin, as Alonso, often called the unluckiest in the sport, retired due to a power unit issue. The team quickly stated they were investigating the malfunction. Various strategies were unfolding. Lawson and Albon made their second pit stops while Sainz, along with Mercedes drivers, were still yet to pit. The action intensified as Russell challenged Albon, but soon found himself under investigation for gaining an advantage. He confessed he'd rather take the penalty because Albon was struggling. As the race continued, Russell saw his first pit stop occur on lap 64, allowing Williams to swap positions between Sainz and Albon. Travis hiccups came for Russell again as he had to take a drive-through penalty, increasing the competitive tension throughout the field. Ultimately, as the checkered flag fell, Lando Norris emerged victorious in the Monaco Grand Prix, followed by Leclerc and Piastri, while Verstappen took fourth. The anticipation builds for what's next in the season as these drivers push for the championship.